House GOP leaders are expected to put on the floor the National Defense Authorization Act, also known as the NDAA. This is an annual defense spending bill. It's typically passed with wide bipartisan margins, unlike most of the other large pieces of legislation. But this House version of the NDAA passed earlier in the year included a lot of amendments to course correct much of the Biden administration's social experiments that they had injected into the military. But now we have a Senate version of the NDAA that, among other things, is likely going to include language to force women the ages 18 years and older to register for selective service. That, of course, is a precursor to the draft. So what might we see in the next week or so as it relates to all of this? And is there enough pushback by some Republicans to stop any effort to draft our daughters? That would be both for now and in the coming years. Well, joining me now to discuss this and more is Congressman Chip Roy. He has been extremely outspoken on this issue for years now. Every time the NDAA has come up, and this has been an issue, Chip has been a leading voice. He serves on the House Judiciary Committee as well as the Rules Committee and the Budget Committee. He represents the 21st Congressional District of Texas. Congressman Roy, welcome back to Washington Watch. Always great to have you.
Jody, great to be on with you, brother. Hope you had a good Thanksgiving, and Merry Christmas to you and your great family.
Well, you as well, Chip. It's always an honor to have you. And yet again, I want to say thank you for your incredible stance on so many issues. But here we come again to yet another NDAA. And boy, I've seen you in the past. When I was there, you led the charge on Don't Draft Our Daughters. And here we go again. Now, Speaker Johnson, Mike Johnson, is saying to the Senate that this Draft Our Daughters is dead on arrival in the House. But what's the latest you're hearing? Is there anything different from that?
Yeah, well, let me set the stage for just a minute for all the viewers out there that the House of Representatives passed a strong National Defense Authorization Act. May not be exactly every word that Jody or I would prefer, but it was a really pretty strong bill after a lengthy amendment process, an open process, with a lot of really good amendments. Again, we could have made it a little better, but a strong bill sent it over to the Senate. Now we're dealing with the Senate product, and that's what Jody's referring to. The Senate product has included the language in there to expand the draft to our daughters, to young women. This is something that is a non-starter for me. This is a hill to die on. It will be over my dead body that I'm going to allow my daughter to get drafted. If she wants to serve, she can serve, and we can have all those debates. If somebody wants to end the draft or start the draft, they can debate that, but you're not going to draft my daughter. And unfortunately, there are some senators like Joni Ernst, for example, in Iowa, and others who are committed to expanding the draft to our daughters, which is nonsense in a country of 330 million people. There's lots of reasons. I've expanded on them before about why it's bad. It's bad for the military. It's bad for our daughters. But thankfully, Mike Johnson and the House, we are negotiating that out of it. My understanding of the current debates and the negotiations of what we're going to try to bring forward is legislation that would not have that in it. There's some other things that I can't get ahead of the speaker on and talking about publicly right now, but we are fighting against a number of the different woke provisions, trying to get sure we got an agreement that we can actually agree to. Won't be exactly the bill that would be my favorite, but I think we can move it forward and get it done in a place that at least preserves the sensibilities that we appreciate, the spending levels according to the FRA agreement, the caps that were put in place. So I'm hopeful that that's where we're headed. I know Speaker Johnson's working on it. We talked about it this morning, but we got to beat back all the woke agenda, the trans stuff, and we got to stop the draft our daughters. I think we're going to be able to do a lot of that and particularly stop draft our daughters, but we got a little work to do in the next week.
There is a lot of work to do. And again, Chip, I want to say thank you for the incredible job that you've done. And I know you can't speak on some of the other issues, but there's so many attempts that the Democrats have utilized the NDAA to insert social experimentation in the military. And quite frankly, all of it needs to come out. In fact, let me go ahead now for our viewers and listeners right now. I'm going to give the switchboard phone number, and this is for the Senate. I want to urge you to call your senators and urge them not to draft our daughters and to take this stuff out. The phone number, the Capitol switchboard for the Senate, area code 202-224-3030. 202-224-3121. That's 202-224-3121. And I'll give that number out again a little bit later on. Chip, if I can, our time's slipping away. Let me shift gears with you real quickly. The House and Senate Republicans yesterday had a brainstorming session with entrepreneurs Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy. Of course, they're heading up the new Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE. But you were there. What were some of your takeaways from that meeting?
Well, first of all, it's great to have the Trump administration coming in with seriousness and resolve to take on spending. Our mutual friend, Russ Vought, who's been nominated to be the Office of Management and Budget Director, or who will be nominated in January, he's working closely with Elon Musk and with Vivek, and along with those in the Congress to make sure we advance the ball. Give credit to Mike Johnson for bringing him to the Hill. We had a good discussion, a lot of good ideas, a lot of stuff being talked about. The best thing they can do is expose the nonsense, expose the crazy, use crowdsourcing, AI, technology, whatever it takes to bring forward all the stuff that you and I both know need to be cut. But importantly, and I said this in front of the entire Republican conference yesterday, in front of Elon and Vivek, they cannot be cover for Congress continuing to do what they always do. And I looked at my colleagues and I looked at Elon and Vivek and I said, the problem are the people in this room, right? You've been searching for the problem. Well, it's right here. Look in the mirror. Congress has continued to fund this stuff, disregarding their duty with the power of the purse, basically trying to promote and push the very programs that we now say are the bureaucratic problems that we oppose. So I applaud DOGE. We should work with them, identify this stuff. But now Congress needs the backbone to do its job and to constrain that spending so we can get on the path to fiscal sanity, but also get rid of the bureaucratic state. They can do a lot in the administration with impoundment and cutting spending and executive action, but Congress needs to do our job. We can't punt. That was my voice yesterday. Guys, we'll take it. Thank you. But we can't punt our responsibility too.
Absolutely. And that has been a problem over and over and over again. And I just hope and pray that that is about to change right now. Only just 30 seconds or so, Chip. What do you expect? We're coming up. Are we going to have a CR? What's going to happen next couple of weeks?
Yeah, we're going to have a CR, I think. That's most likely going to happen. Kick it to March. I think we're going to, try to shrink the disaster supplemental. I'll end up voting no. It'll probably pass. It'll help some people, but it's a lot of bureaucratic spending, and it should be paid for. The last thing I want to point out to this audience, in case I don't talk to y'all before Christmas, you guys have made a big impact on the FACE Act and the importance of defending against these people who have been targeted by the Department of Justice. Help is on the way. We've got to continue to stand up. I hope to hold a hearing in the Constitution Subcommittee on it. Thank you for all your support on that. There are people in jail who shouldn't be. God bless them. Pray for them. And, let's try to advance the ball. And Merry Christmas to you, my friend.
Chip, Merry Christmas to you and your dear family as well. And I hope you get a little rest over the break and come back fighting. We'll be there with you. Thank you.
God bless you.